there is an unexpected group calling out the FBI and Trump's administration for maybe lying about this whole Charlie Kirk assassination story, or at least what their official story is. And you know that if I'm saying this, there's something to it, because just the other day, I died on the hill of arguing with my own fans that there was no evidence that the FBI was fudging the story. Until a couple days ago, that is. Until a couple days ago. So now you guys know that if I'm now saying, it's happening, guys, something's fishy now, we might actually have legitimate evidence that the FBI is lying about this story, then yeah, you know it's real if I'm even fucking talking about it. Did you see Kyle Kalinski's video on this? No, I have not seen anyone else's video on this, but I have, except for one person who is a war veteran. Because that was he was a creator that I know knows his shit, and when this story hit, he was the first one I went to get his take on it. And sure enough, his take was pretty much the same as my take. Is this about the sharpied bullet casings? Yes and no. You see, right now, there are a lot of people doubting the narrative that a single shooter from 150 meters away on top of a building used a 30-06 round and shot him head on through the neck. That is the right now heavily contended point that people are arguing the FBI is making up. That it was a single shooter, that they shot him with 30-06, and that it happened through the front of the neck. That is the official story, but here's another detail they added onto this official story that makes things a little fishy. Now, for those that don't know, 30-06 is a very powerful round. Like, very powerful. You guys know the round that was used against JFK? I googled this just to double check and make sure. I was like, is it possible that a JFK situation happened here? A JFK magic bullet situation happened? Well, I checked, and the round used on JFK is significantly weaker than a 30-06. In fact, if you want to see what a 30-06 looks like hitting ballistic gel, that is a substance made to mimic the texture, resistance, etc., of human blood and flesh and other tissues, well, let's take a look. Let's look at what it does to a simulacrum of human flesh when several feet of thick ballistic gel get shot. Now, keep in mind, Charlie Kirk's neck is about, we'll say, this wide. His neck's about this wide. Even if it came in at an angle, we're only talking at most like 6-7 inches maybe of neck that this 30-06 would be going through. Now, if you've seen the video, I want you to imagine that video right now. Sorry, but watch the video. And then watch this. Now, if you've seen Attack on Titan, good point, Retard, what should have happened to Charlie Kirk is what happened to Eren Yeager when Gabi did the 360 no-scope. Behold. Yeah, that is what it looks like when a 30-06 does what a 30-06 does. And you'll notice that it goes in pretty clean. You know, that entrance wound is pretty thin, pretty clean. From what range? At the range of 150, between 150 meters and like 10 meters, there's so little difference. It's negligible. At 200 or at 1,000 meters, or sorry, 1,000 yards, this round will annihilate the bone, like straight up like elk bone. Okay, I've watched some hunting videos that I can't show you guys, and the exit wound these rounds leave when they go through the neck or chest of an elk or a buck is unbelievably nasty. It leaves a nasty exit wound on a buck. Keep all this in mind. Because while this is not, as far as I know, the FBI's narrative, this is TPUSA's narrative, and the FBI has not exactly come out to argue that this is wrong. That was not a hunting round. You are wrong. Ooh, Ninja Knot, you're being cringe. I never said it was a hunting round. Ooh, cringe. I said I saw it used for hunting. Ooh, trying to be a smartass, huh? From the New York Post, one of the many right-wing outlets that would naturally pick up this story and start reporting on it. Surgeon calls Charlie Kirk, quote-unquote, man of steel, reveals, quote-unquote, miracle factor that likely prevented more from being hurt. I'm not joking. TPUSA is arguing that Charlie's surgeon has claimed that, well, wait until you see what they claim. Because if the FBI isn't coming out to contradict this, if they're going to, like, unironically try to argue that this is what happened, that this is, like, the official narrative, and we're not getting an autopsy report or whatever, there's a lot fishy about this. But let's read. Quote-unquote, man of steel. Charlie Kirk likely prevented others from being dangerously hurt when he was shot because the bullet miraculously failed to exit his body thanks to his strong bones, TPUSA said. The surgeon who tried to save the mortally wounded Turning Point USA founder described it as an absolute miracle, quote-unquote, that the bullet, which hit the conservative icon's neck, did not pass through him and strike any of the dozens of people standing behind him at his final speaking event at Utah Valley University on September 10th, according to a Turning Point spokesman. Quote, I'm usually not interested in delving into most of this kind of online chatter, and I apologize, this is somewhat graphic, but in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know, wrote the Representative Andrew Colvin on X on Saturday, after sick conspiracists looked to exploit reports of a lack of exit wound. That is right, guys. We have official people from our government arguing that the reason why there is no exit wound is because his surgeon claimed a literal miracle happened, and his bone density and muscle density were so strong he was a man of steel who stopped the bullet in his neck. It gets even crazier, though. This is the shit. Okay. You know how, like, sometimes the FBI, kills people and then claims it's a suicide with, like, 2 gunshots to the head? There was particularly that one guy that everyone knows the FBI killed because the FBI claimed he died by suicide with 2 gunshots to the head, and that's where the 2 gunshot to the head suicide thing comes from. It's one of those situations where, like, we all know the FBI did it, and the FBI isn't even trying to hide it, because low-key, it's probably in the best interest of our intelligence agencies to be like, hey, listen, Americans, we could kill any of you and get away with it. Like you all know that we did that, and you can't do shit about it, you see? Like, just making sure you all know how things stand. You know, so I wouldn't really be surprised, okay? I wouldn't be surprised, because there have been some situations where, you know, the FBI decides to be behind a killing of somebody for some political gain. The FBI has often been used as, like, an extension of the sitting administration. And in this case, an extension of the Trump administration. Wouldn't be that crazy to believe that perhaps, maybe, the FBI faked Charlie Kirk's death and is now trying to argue that you must believe in a miracle in order to believe the true story, or the true story, the official story, because they don't want people to be able to believe the official story. They want us all to know that this was all bullshit, and the FBI can just do this kind of thing. Just a little reminder, maybe. And that's the way you could see it. The surgeon who tried to save the mortally... sorry. I'm usually not interested in all this, blah, blah, blah. I just spoke with a surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, which is very, very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round, Colvin said. I've seen wounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. So even from their own statement, they're saying that this round is so powerful, not that it would have, but it could have taken down 2 elk, and yet Charlie Kirk's neck supposedly stopped it, and there was supposedly no exit wound. That gel test is not supposed to be real human flesh. It gives you a way to measure... Okay, so you've been spamming no, you're wrong the whole time. I'm just going to go ahead and mute you for... Let's give you a day mute. You're being mighty annoying, Ninja Not. You're being mighty annoying. And you're not subbed, so you get muted. Should have been subbed. Ooh, rough. All right. With that said, though, I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet, quote, absolutely should have gone through, and he's seen many large animals taken down directly through with this round, but it didn't go through Charlie. His body stopped it. Colvett described how he told the doctor that that dozens of staff, students, and guests were standing behind Kirk at the time of the shooting. It was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed, Colvett said, the doctor told him. His bone was so healthy, and the density was so impressive, that he's like the man of steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too, quote-unquote, according to the surgeon. Quote, in the end, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable. Miraculous, Colvett wrote. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him, guys. L connection, it's called a spine? Well, I don't know if you're like, what you mean by that, if you're arguing, like, against the idea that the FBI's narrative and TPUSA's narrative here is, fishy, but, you guys want to see what a 30-06 does to alligator bone? One of the densest bones in the animal kingdom? 30-06 versus alligator femur. Let's see, where was that video of the alligator femur getting shot by... Was it like an elephant bone? Hold on, where was it? It was some big animal versus bone. Yeah, here's a clip from the, one of the many veteran content creators, like veterans that do content, and just veterans in general, that have been speaking out about how this story and this narrative is utter bullshit. The idea his bone density was superhuman. Like, and when we say, like, when he says he had like, he was a man of steel to have stopped the bullet this way, the doctor isn't exaggerating, supposedly. Like, to have stopped the bullet, you would literally have to be superhuman, okay? 306 ain't a small round. It's 30-06. Not 306, 30-06. So, clicking back in. Take a look at this.
Now let's look at this actual ballistics test. All right, so we're gonna watch a video from US Overwatch. He just put out this a day ago. Very good video. Let's check it out. I'll put his link in the pinned comment in the description if you want to watch the whole video.
So our first shot will be a cold bore shot, and we will just see what kind of results we are able to duplicate.
All right, so he's got some very thick bone here across the strap of this dummy. Obviously, this would be far thicker and stronger than a human vertebrae in the neck. Let's see what this 30-06 rounds does to it.
Yeah. So, at this point, I'm pretty confident, because I spent an uncomfortable amount of time watching 30-06 rounds go through elk and deer in the last couple days, just getting a good look at what it does to them. I'm gonna be real, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Charlie's head should have been hanging off. Like, that video should have been so much more gruesome than it already was. And so this odd narrative, the fact that not only do the ballistics not really make sense, and ballistics typically don't lie. You know, it's like math, numbers, you know? Like, sometimes, at the end of the day, like, if the FBI or the official narrative wants to be the sky is purple, like, at a certain point, it's like, okay, well now, you know, alright, okay, alright. Like, the people who are mistrusting of these institutions, I can't call them conspiracy theorists at this point, because now they're trying to claim a literal, ballistically impossible miracle took place. They are trying to claim that Charlie Kirk was a superhuman whose, like, super raw milk and, like, eggs, I guess, a diet saved his life. It is a level of nonsense that no one could possibly believe. To the point where it makes me think that maybe, like, they want people to be able to tell it's bullshit just to be able to get across the message. The truth is whatever we decide it is. Genuinely insane. Genuinely genuinely insane. And I'm glad to see that of all people, it's the veterans right now coming out to call bullshit on this. The gun tubers are all coming out to say, yeah, nope. Like right now, even among the more like anti-establishment conservative areas of the internet, we're starting to see a bit of pushback against the Trump administration because, well, frankly, you can't lie to the world of gun folks about what a 30-06 does to a human neck and tell them a miracle happened, and for the first time in history, human muscle and bone density has been enough to stop a high-power round in its tracks. Now, you might be wondering, what is a 30-06 for? Because it's not even for hunting, as Ninja Not, who I muted for a day in chat, brought up. It's actually not a hunting round. What it's for makes it even more obvious as to like why it should have done more damage. It is a cover-penetrating round meant for combat. It is meant to be able to destroy and penetrate cover. That is what that round is meant to do. It is a high-power penetration round. I'm telling you guys, there is some really fishy shit going on here. Some really fishy shit. Because ballistics just don't lie. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more from me in the future, and you want to support the channel, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below, and subscribe, and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And of course, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merchandise through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support the channel, though, thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a good one.